Thanks so much for coming. I know you guys are busy and ramping up for the season and the summer coming. And so I really appreciate you being here. And so does Watershape University. So again, thanks for coming. This is Mastering Leads and Customer Relationships. We're going to talk about a particular tool, but I don't ever do webinars that are all sales focused or trying to push things on people. I'm a big believer that people have needs, and if they see what we have to offer and it's a good fit, then they'll contact me in regards to it. But I'm never going to give a presentation where it's all trying to push people to buy things that they don't need. I don't believe in that. I think that's kind of the old school used car selling approach, which I don't do. So I want to talk a little bit about this because it's really, really important that we have a way to communicate. Most of us in our businesses are really trying to figure out now the lead capture thing and being able to communicate with leads is one thing, but then once you have a customer, someone that has chosen to work with you, how are you communicating with them? How are you building customer loyalty? Because I'm assuming you have a lot of competitors in your area. And if that's the case, what are you doing to make sure you keep those customers for return business or anything like that? So we'll talk about those things. Before I get started though, I want to just say a few things in regards to Watershape University. I don't have the slide in here, but they have a lot of corporate partners that I work with as well as them, because I do work with Watershape University. Lots of people this year alone, just last 3 months, we've worked with Master Pools Guild, Carecraft, Florida Swimming Pool Association, Southwest Pool and Spa Show, the Western Pool and Spa Show, NESPA, Northeast Spa and Pool Association, Concrete I forget the ASA what that stands for, but the Concrete Association, all those things, all those people, plus the number of instructors and manufacturers, corporate partners that have partnered with us on classes that we've taught. So it's something that we really are grateful for and appreciative for. So if any of you are listening or going to watch the recording on YouTube later, we really appreciate you being with us and putting your faith in us and really committing to wanting to grow the industry and educate the industry and elevate the industry. We appreciate that. If you don't know who I am, my name is Michelle Kavanaugh, as I said. And really for me, my goal, I consider myself a consultant, but I wear so many different hats in the industry that consultant doesn't really quite describe it. But I was at the National Swimming Pool Foundation for 15 years. And I worked with Genesis back in the day when they were with the National Swimming Pool Foundation before the merger happened. And Lauren, of course, and Dave and Bill and all of them were a part of that Genesis team at that time. And so we worked together at the National Swimming Pool Foundation. For me personally, then I went on to the California Pool and Spa Association as the executive director for 2 years. And then I went out on my own. 2020 was my first year on my own. And what I've noticed about this industry is that it's such a great community. It's a small community, really, but a great community to be a part of. And I have such passion for this industry because of the fact that when I was, a single mom working at NSPF with a child who had Asperger's and all kinds of issues, it was hard to try to manage all of that. And this industry really surrounded me with love and support and caring. And there were times when it was just, my family life was more important. And my boss at the time, Tom Lachaki, who is still a dear friend, said, just go take care of your family. That's more important. Family first. And it was just such a great industry. All the relationships that I built over the years, everybody is so caring and loving and wanting to help. And I still have longtime friends that I developed over the years. And now my goal, at MK Consulting Services is really just to give back to what was provided to me back in the day when I was really struggling, and this wonderful arm that was put around me to help me. I just want to give back. And that's my goal. I work with Watershape University. They are one of my clients. They asked me if I'd work with them to help them out. So I do a couple of different things for them, social media, event planning, different things like that. But I am on my own and a contractor with Watershape U, but I'm such a believer in what they do. I think they're the best educators out there. And I'm not just saying that because they pay me every month. I'm saying it because I really believe it. And that's why I work with them. So that's who I am in a little nutshell there. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about doing business in a digital world, the power of a CRM system, a simple solution that I'm going to cover today, and then a question and answer period that you can ask questions. If you want to ask questions during the presentation, You can certainly type in the chat window down there. If I don't get to it right away, I will get to it at some point. I'll look down and see that there's a question there. Feel free to make a comment or a question, and I'd be happy to cover that if something comes up for you. If not, we'll talk about how you can get a hold of me afterwards and, ask more in-depth questions about what I'm going to cover today. So let's talk about competing in a digital world. Now, I realize that a lot of the big builders out there, they're probably not competing on the same level in the digital world because they're probably getting the majority of their business through referrals or repeat business, or, somebody's doing a word of mouth advertising for them. That's because they have already built this wonderful following of loyal customers who are really happy to be a part of, their service. So that's something that, if you haven't built that yet, those people don't need a digital marketing the same way that others do. Now, they still have websites and still have social media and things like that, but the business is not coming from, having to put ads out or, lead generation capabilities, things like that. They're getting it through word of mouth. So the goal being, that would be the goal for you too over time, is to certainly build that. That's what you want, is you want, getting so many referrals that you can't take it all because you don't have enough bandwidth to cover all the jobs. That's what you're looking for at some point in the future here. But until that happens, you're going to be forced to compete in a digital world, and you're competing against the guy, 3 miles away or 10 miles away, whether it be service or building or any other part of the swimming pool industry. So let's talk about consumer behavior, and we'll cover each of these in a little bit more detail. But as far as consumer behavior, I think all of you know, and if you don't, you better start learning that. But the point here is that everyone, including myself, and think about what you guys do when you make a purchasing decision. You're going out. I go out and look at people's websites. I go out and see what they're doing. What kind of online presence do they have? No matter what I'm buying. If I'm thinking about, having a contractor come do something, or I'm thinking about buying, something that I just want to learn more about on the internet, you're going to go out there and look. And if their online presence looks kind of subpar or really amateur, I hate to say it, but I do judge them based on that. And it's a sad state of affairs, but that's where we are, folks. That's what's happening. So if you don't have an online presence, now you don't have to do everything, because it can be extremely overwhelming, and I understand that. So you don't have to do everything. Don't think that you have to do everything, but you have to have an online presence that is professional looking, that is clear and concise, and has good messaging, that you're actually updating, that you're responding, things like that. You have to have that in today's world. You just have to, because that's where the consumers are going to check out about you. And believe it or not, the About Us page on your website is usually very highly trafficked. If you do any kind of analytics with your website, I don't know if you do that, but if you do, and you have a nice About Us page, they're going to read your About Us page because they want to know who you are. And if you're on that About Us page and you don't have any good information or pictures or video or something to show them who you are, they're not going to know. They're going to make their own determination about that. So think about that when you're looking at your online presence and your website and the other areas, your branding, all of that. We can do this in a very, you could do it in a professional way without spending a ton of money. I think when somebody comes to you and tries to say you have to spend $4,000 or $5,000 to do your website, that's complete crap. You don't need to spend that kind of money. You can have a very nice professional looking website for a hell of a lot less than that. And excuse my language there, but that's the truth. I always get concerned when I hear people saying, yeah, I'm going to go to this particular vendor to do my website and it's going to be $4,000. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't need that. Now, some of the more elaborate websites where you have like the Watershape University website is very elaborate because they have a learning management system attached to it, and you're, all these different things. So that's a little bit different. But our basic websites that we have, you don't need that. But that's where people are going. So it's really important to understand the consumer behavior and your competition. So if you aren't doing those things and your competition is, then what? Because then all of a sudden your competition is going to outperform you in regards to how they're perceived on the internet and then in Google search. And if you're not following best practices or whatever they're doing, then you potentially are going to lose business to them. Most likely you are losing business to them. And they might even take customers away, to be honest with you. If you don't provide great customer service, or you're not managing your relationships with your customers well, you might lose a customer in the future for a repeat business to somebody else who is doing it well. So keep that in mind. And then having the effective tools to do these types of things. So if you think about the consumer behavior and the competition and how you're going to compete, you have to have the tools to be able to do that. And that's the things that we're going to talk about today and go in a little bit more detail on these particular things. So I just pulled this up yesterday. The National Association of Home Builders said that this is in 2019, by the way. So, it's 3 years old or something at this point. 51% of homeowners in the US use the internet to search for contractors in 2019. So if you're not getting word of mouth referrals, then, and they don't know who to go to, they're going on the internet to try to find a contractor or for anything that they do at their house. And that's going to be an issue for you if they go out there and try to find it and you don't come up in the search at all, or they do get to your website and it's, again, it's not very well done and it doesn't reflect your company very well. That is something that's going to be noticed by the consumer, and you probably aren't going to be called at all. And then the Local Search Association found that 97% of consumers use online platforms such as search engine directories, social media, anything like that to make purchasing decisions. Doesn't mean they always buy online. It means they go research it. And like I said to you before, I do that myself. I'm sure you guys do too. If you're going to buy something, you go out and you look at reviews, you try to figure out, you kind of search it out. You may go to a store and actually buy it, or call somebody and buy a service over the phone or schedule something, but they're going to go do the research before they do it. And that's 97%. That tells you how many people, that's the digital world we're living in. People are going to the internet to look for these things. And if you're not there, then you want to be where they can find you when they're trying to make a decision. And that's the goal here with all of this. So as far as competition is concerned, if you, like I said before on the previous slide, if your competitors are doing really well with their online presence and what they're doing, and you're not, here are some ways in which you could be negatively impacted. And that's reduced visibility. That's what I was talking about in regards to they do a search like, pool builders in Kansas City, Missouri. If they do that or whatever it might be, and you don't come up, that's a problem. And there are ways, I'm sure that many of you have webmasters. I don't know if you're using WordPress sites, or if you've got, more just the ones that can just are real easy to manage for anybody, that just, you pull things over. It's kind of a point and click type of situation where you can just add a few things and then you have a website. All of that is fine. And there's no issue with any of that. You just need to make sure that you have a search engine optimization on your website. And you need to get somebody who knows how to do that. You don't have to pay them monthly if you don't have a webmaster that you pay monthly already, but they need to know how to tag your website and work. Now, with the whole AI thing, there's been a lot of conversations about how SEO is going to change. SEO has been changing, almost weekly, I think, for months and months and months and months. So I don't think it's odd that SEO is going to change, but the algorithms and things, people will figure out how to use those. So you just need to get somebody who understands how to do that, because that's important so that you come up in the search. I have a particular product that I use it's called SEO Boost, that you can actually, it's a service, it's a monthly service fee, but it's something that it's through these kind of bots, if you will. They actually get your website to come up in your area for those particular, whatever search words you choose to use. So that's something, if you're interested in that, I could talk to you more about that offline, but that's really important. Your visibility, being where the customers are when they decide to make a decision, is where you want to be. And that's part of your visibility. And then as far as engagement as well. So if you are not engaging with people on your social media in different places, then they're going to go to people who are doing that. So like I said, if your competitors are doing that and they have social media sites that are really active and they respond to DMs and all those types of things, those are the people that are going to get the customers that care about that to their sites, and you're going to have less engagement with those folks. They might even be existing customers of yours, but they've chosen to go to a website where they're providing good tips, tools, whatever it might be. They're getting good information from them, and they're able to communicate, and there's responses that are happening. They may be, that may be at a competitor's social media page and not yours. And then in the future, if they have, something, equipment or whatever needs to be replaced, or whatever the service might be, the repeat business, they may not choose you because you're not doing that. Missed opportunities, we already talked about. Obviously, if they're not coming to you and they're not clicking on your form or whatever to fill out to get more information, then it's going to go to somebody else. And, and like I said, in a previous slide, that reduce credibility, because for me, if I go to somebody's website and it's really, really bad, I'm not going to do business with that person. And I hate to say that because it's a crappy thing to say, because the people are probably fantastic. They're very capable, intelligent, do a great job. But because the website looks so bad, I'm not even going to contact them. And that's the unfortunate part of the digital world that we're all living in now, is that's what's happening. So I just want to make sure, again, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to make this work. So I don't want to discourage you up front that you have to spend a lot of money to be able to fix a couple of these things. You really don't. You just need to put a little bit of effort into it. And, you don't have to spend hours and hours on your website or even social media pages. You just have to have a clear plan and execute that plan. It could just be you're gonna engage, 3 times a week or whatever it might be. You just need to have a plan in place. And then let's talk about tools. So we'll talk about some tools in detail at the end, more towards the end of the presentation. But some effective tools that would work in this is, things that I'll talk about: a digital business card, a CRM, absolutely, and then your website, of course, and then how you work those things together are the tools that I'm speaking about. And when you have that, it increases productivity because of the fact that it streamlines processes. It streamlines sales processes. If you have a form on your website, and even a giveaway, which we can talk about a giveaway, but if you have a form on your website or your digital business card, which I'll show you guys an example of that, once they enter the information into the form, like could just be their first name, last name, their email address, and a phone number. And a phone number would be great because you may want to SMS, send them text messages through the automation system. If you do that, then all of a sudden they're in your CRM. And then you have a person to market to, and you could set up automations to be able to market to them, or have someone in your office do that so that it happens automatically. And there's little time that you have to spend doing this. So it increases productivity by streamlining the sales process as well as the communication process. So that improved customer experience, the second bullet point there, is once you have them in your CRM system, you can communicate with your customers and your leads however you choose to communicate. You can do that via email, via text messages, automate all that and set all that up so that you can start communicating effectively with them. And then if you're a service company, then you can do that every week when you go, or every other week when you go, you can have a communication with them and utilize and use that information, or use that time, I should say, to really give them something extra besides just an invoice. You could, give them a tip or two, or if you notice something that, was an issue when you were there, or they're, you're looking at the reports when you do a spin test or whatever, and you're noticing that they're using way too many chemicals, or you're putting too many chemicals in, or something, whatever it might be, a tip or something that really just engages with them. That's building customer loyalty, and that's important. And that enhanced communication is with the customer, but also between teams. So if you all have, if you have a CRM system and everybody has an app on their phone where they have all the contacts in the CRM system on that, and then they want to send they're out somewhere and they want to send an email or a text message to that particular customer, they open up the app, they pull the customer from that, they send the text message or the email right from the app, and then it's in the CRM system. So that way, everybody on the team now can see the communication that person had with that customer, and then they can either respond or send their own message, but it's documented. It's in the system at that point, and it's documented. So if there's ever a question in the future about a conversation that was had, it's now in the CRM system, and you can pull it back up and say, no, that's not what we talked about. This is what happened, or whatever the case is. Data analysis. Once you have all of this information in the CRM system, then you can analyze that data. You can analyze, are they opening your communications? Which ones are they opening? Which ones do they seem to have more interest in? Of your leads, have you closed those leads? Have they communicated back? Have they opened anything? All of your data is now in the system. And again, if you're a service company, then you have the ability to look at, you can send your reports, your chemical analysis reports or whatever when you go, you can send those into the CRM system as well. But you can analyze data there to figure out if, there's maybe an issue, or, you told a customer about an equipment replacement they needed and they didn't do it. And then all of a sudden they're trying to come get after you for issues that happened because that equipment failed, or there was a leak or something like that. You have all that documented in the system, which is really important. And that saves money, which is the next bullet point, because it saves on labor costs, number one, because of the streamlining of the processes through the CRM. But it could be a cost savings if somebody tries to come after you in the future, or anything like that, where they potentially could come after you for anything, or try not, that all that stuff isn't part of in the system now, which is just so much easier to use and to manage. And again, all of your teams can have access to it, and they can see what's happening for each individual customer, which makes what's great if you get somebody in the office or they're out in the field, everybody sees the same information. And then I just said you could compete more effectively, because if you have all of that and you know what's going on in your business, you know what your customers are doing, you know what's happening, and you're communicating well, and customers are happy, and they're building that loyalty, that is going to allow you to compete, and they're less likely to leave for someone else if you're doing all those things the right way. So let's talk about a CRM system. So what is a CRM system? We use this word a lot. It's really, the database was the big word back in the day before CRM was kind of the term that everybody's now using. But back in the day, it was a database. Remember, we had Access databases and all these old databases, and Excel. For gosh, some people use Excel spreadsheets as their database still to this day. And I get that, because it's something that you know, and it's hard to change habits. But a CRM system is really just it's a relationship management system where you have everything in there. So it's a technology, it's a platform where you can have all of your interactions and relationships and communication. All of that is streamlined. If you have a good CRM system, then it has other capabilities as well, which is the one that I'm going to talk to you guys about at the end. You can actually develop online courses in it at some point in the future. It has a lot of ability besides just a CRM system in there, which is fantastic. But that's really what a CRM system is. It's just a database, if you will, where all of your information, all of your customer information, anything that has to do with their interactions, your communication, any of that, it's all in there. And that's it's nice to have, because anytime you pull up a customer, you can see every interaction that's happened, who did it, what was the result, are they thinking about buying a different product or service? What's the status of that? All of that's in there. And it's just so easy to manage that. And that's what we're looking for. The advantages of a CRM system, it increases conversions. And the way that it increases conversions is basically that it streamlines the sales process. So as an example, if you have a form either on your website or via a digital business card, they go in, they put the information. You say, I'm going to give you, the reason they're putting their information is because you've encouraged them to with a download or something like that. You could just say, the top 10 for pool builders would be the top 10 things you should ask your pool builder. And it's just a one-page download of things that you should ask your pool builder when you're trying to sign on a pool builder. And of course, you want to use that to enhance the things that you do well, because you're wanting them to choose you. And then they get a download, so they get a free something, a PDF download that automatically happens, by the way, when they put the information in. So you don't have to manually do that. They put the information, then they're in your database. Now, what did they respond to? So obviously it was a pool building or something like that. Then you would then start an automation campaign that, again, set up have somebody in your office do it, or you can do it, whichever you choose. But you have an automation campaign set up for pool building, for a pool build. And then you have a series of things that go out to them. It could be a combination of emails and text messages. I'm a big believer in text messages, although you don't want to do it too much, because I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of text messages now because people are moving to that from email. I think the average email open is 21%, and the average open for text messages is like 97%. So you can see that most people are going to open their text messages. They may decide to delete it. They may block you at some point in the future. Who knows? But I mean, this is it's worth testing it out. And if you only send them a text message maybe once a month, or twice a month or something like that, and then one email or whatever that you decide to do, you can test it and figure out which works. But that is going to make an automated process. A lot of times people need to see something 6 or 7 times before they buy. Now with the purchase, like a pool build, just to set up a call, you're just trying to set up a call with them. You're trying to set up a time for you to go meet with them or get on the phone or whatever the case may be. So that may be what you're trying to lead them to, is actually setting up a call. And that's fine, because sometimes it might just take them, 3, 4, 5 times before they actually set the call up. And that's the goal for you. So it actually makes it easier, because most people will make a decision once they've seen it 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times, or they just decide they don't want it. And that's okay too. But at least that decision has been made at that point. But having the conversions increase because of the fact you're consistently in front of them. Your name and your company name and your face or whatever is consistently in front of them. And that's going to make them either decide to set up the call or not. But because you're there and there's probably not somebody else doing the same thing that is your competitor, then you're probably going to get the call versus the other person. And then the improved customer experience, we talked about this again, but it's the communication. I have heard from service guys and contractors too, that, that's one big issue they have is the communication and being open to that. I mean, just as a simple example, do you know what the birthdays of your customers? Are you sending them a quick, an automated note that happens automatically on their birthday because you have that information in the CRM system and you're sending them a quick note? That's just an example. How are you communicating with your customers? How are you updating them? How are you talking about, routine maintenance? How are you talking about a new product that you have? And, are they interested? All of those things should be an automated process for you and that you're communicating with them. And if you are, and then you can, like I said, send them tips too. Send them stuff that's not sales related. Send them just a tip about something that's new in the industry or an issue that's happening in the industry, rising prices of chemicals. That would be good to communicate with them without, just dropping a bomb on them. Things like that. How are you communicating? That's the customer experience. And when you do that well, you build customer loyalty. When you build customer loyalty, you get good reviews online. They don't leave to go to somebody else, and they will refer you via word of mouth. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Is that word of mouth referral. The enhanced team collaboration is really just about your teams, how you guys within your company can see everything that's going on. And that's really important in the CRM system, as I mentioned earlier, because of the fact that you don't know what John said to the customer unless you look in the CRM system and it's there. And you want that as part of your company, because then everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what's happening with the customer. Everybody knows what the status is of everything that's happening with the customer. And that makes it so much easier for your team to be able to be effective in their processes, number one. But also if, John talked to him last week and then they call the office and now it's, Kevin on the phone, he knows how to continue that conversation on because he knows what John said. And that's really part of that enhanced team collaboration. And then just increased efficiency. If you're streamlining all your processes and streamlining all your sales, then obviously you're going to be more efficient. And that results in cost savings for you, labor costs, potentially buying too many different kinds of tools. There's a lot of tools out there and there's a lot of subscription services for those tools. And if you're effective with the one tool you have or the two you have, you don't have to go out and spend lots of money on lots of different tools. And that's a cost savings to the company also. So how do you get started if you want to be more effective at doing this? What do you do? What's the next step for you? If you really want to be better at what you've done, if you realize maybe there's some areas that you have potential room for growth, the first thing I would say, if you don't have a CRM system, that's the first thing you need to do. Website and digital business card is, another thing. They're actually, you don't have to have both of them. You can have both of them, but you don't need to. But the CRM system is really the main key here. And that's why I want to go over the CRM system. We'll talk about that because of the fact I have a very simple solution for you that does not cost a lot of money. And it'll take care of everything you need. But in the interim, if your website needs help, if you go out to your website and it has a lot of problems and you can tell that it's not following best practices. And if you don't know what best practices are, we will cover that in a second here, but that's really important for you to do. Now, I would not go out and spend thousands of dollars upgrading your website. Like I said before, I don't think that's necessary. You just need to make some tweaks. You just need to work with someone, and I'm happy to work with you if you so choose. You just need to make some tweaks to what you're doing. You just need to go out and we'll talk about that, but that's the important part here. I don't want you to go out and spend big money trying to fix your website. If you don't have a website, that's a problem as well. You need to have a website, but you can start with a digital business card, and I'll show you mine. Because a digital business card acts like a website. It is an actual URL. And if you're just starting out, it's a solution that's a lower cost solution that connects directly to the CRM with the form that you can do until you get ready to get your website up. And we could develop, that's just a simple solution to get you started. And then it's your digital business card from then on. Anytime you go to a show or do anything, you pull up your digital business card, they can scan the QR code on it. They can send you, you can put in their information right then and there on your own card. You can give it to them and they can go do it. Whatever you want to do, it's right there for you. You have it every time. So when you're out somewhere else, you never have to fumble with the paper business cards ever again. You have a simple solution that's very, very easy to use and automates going into your CRM system. And we'll cover all of those things. So here's what I was talking about as far as the website best practices. You need to have a lot of people, what I see on their websites is they just put a bunch of information on it. There's a bunch of information about, out there, but it's not clear. It's not concise. It doesn't have a clear purpose, and it doesn't have a call to action. A lot of websites don't have calls to action. They just have a bunch of information, and that's not going to help you. That's not going to help you get leads. It's not going to help you convert leads. It's not going to help you with anything like that. And if you have a customer who, for some reason, doesn't know how to get a hold of you, which I can't imagine would be the case, but if you do, then they can always go to your website and fill out a little form there. But a lot of the forms too on the websites that people can fill out for the contact us, this is a pet peeve of mine, just so you know. If you go to the contact us page and you have a little form, and there's no email or phone number, it's just the form because you don't want to get phone calls in your office, that's a big no-no. I immediately go away from those because it's so irritating, because you don't even know if they're going to get the form, the form that's listed there to contact them. You don't even know if they're going to get it. It could go in their spam. It could go anywhere. You're sitting there waiting for a return phone call. You have no idea. So don't do that. I do not recommend that. But you need to have a call to action on your website. That's very important. It could just be to schedule a call with you. It could be to schedule a time for you to come out and visit and look at their backyard or look at their pool if you're a pool service company. Whatever it is, you need to have a call to action. Your website should be user-friendly. And this is another mistake a lot of people make because they don't understand the user-friendly side of it. You need to think like the person coming to your website, not like yourself. So you have a different view of things because you're so caught up in it. You're so caught up in the building of your website, working with your webmaster or doing it yourself, that you can't see outside of that little world that you're in. You need to think about your website. What I would recommend is send somebody who's never been to your website before, a friend or a colleague or somebody, send them to your website and ask them to do a particular thing. Maybe it's to schedule a call with you, or go read something, or go access something on your website, and go let them do it. And then they can talk about their experience or write down their experience, and then they can come back to you and give you feedback. Because I bet that unless it's very, very obvious, they may have an issue with doing the task that you've asked them to do. And if that's the case, then you know that something's wrong and you've got to fix it. So that's something that you can do. That's a nice way to kind of test your website, is that just give them a task and say, hey, go to this URL and do this and see what happens. And they can come back to you with feedback on that. Great content is still important. I know with AI and all that stuff, all the things that are changing in the digital world, content is not king anymore. That's completely false. Content is still king, because that's how your website is getting indexed. It's how your website is accessed. That's how Google looks at your website. And then AI is going to pull information from your website. If you have great information out there, that's how they're getting the information, is they're just sending all the bots out there to find the information. If you've got good information, obviously that can be used by your competitors, but you shouldn't worry about that. Don't worry about the content on your competitor's website as far as that goes, because you can't control anything they're doing. All you control is what you're doing and how you're doing it better than you had, before. So don't worry about that. Just be doing the same thing. If they pull content from your website, and people pull content from all kinds of websites and things like that, and AI is going to be, more about that and how it works in the future, there's not much you can do about it. So don't worry about that. Just make sure you have some great content out there. And that could just be, putting something out there once a month even. You don't even have to do it all that often. Tips or tricks or anything that relates to your business and how you can help people. That's what you want to do. Give more, because when you give more, it kind of comes back to you in the form of either business or them referring you or them coming back to you and seeing what you're about, whatever it might be. You giving stuff away for free, and that just means information, is a good thing. Make sure your website has SEO, which we talked about at the beginning, and then make sure you have your social media buttons and things on your website. They can click on that and go to your social media pages or your YouTube channel. That's really important, your podcast, whatever it is. And then analytics and tracking. It's important to have that too. If you have a website that is not tagged properly by your webmaster or whoever, you don't know where people are going. And if you have an online store, you can actually determine, if you have an online store and you have good analytics, where the sales process stopped. So if they got to this page of your website and they didn't go any further to buy, then maybe something on that page of your website needs to be revised. Or if it's trying to schedule a call with you and they got to the page to schedule a call and didn't do it, Have you tested that recently? Is it working properly? Do you need something on that page to encourage them to schedule? Do you want to say, if you schedule, you'll get this, or if for every person that schedules a call, they get whatever it is, something from you, or it doesn't matter what it is. It just give them something, encourage them. If that's where the process is falling, is right there on your page. That's what you need to look at. And you don't know that unless you're looking at analytics and tracking. And then the CRM integration with your website, you have to have that. All you need to do is have a form on your website where they can enter their information, and then it goes directly into the CRM. You need to have that on your website for sure. Now let's talk about the digital business card. So here is an example of my digital business card. I'm going to close my window where I can see myself, because I don't need to see myself. I need to see the screen. And you can actually go to my business card right now, you guys. If you type in mkbizcard.net, that is my digital business card. And these are just some of the screens. If you scroll down, you'll see all of this stuff. So when they go to my website, they can save it to their phone. They can save my contact info to their phone. They can follow me on social media. That links directly to all of my social media pages. They just click on it. They can call me by clicking that button. They can shoot me a text message. And when they shoot me that text message right there, that's what goes into my CRM system. So as soon as they fill out that form right there on my digital business card, it automatically goes into the CRM. And it shows up as an opportunity and a contact in my CRM. And then you can see there, they can send a video testimonial. They can watch that. That's my podcast, the Tradespeople podcast. They can watch the introduction to that podcast right there. And then it just repeats the information where they can, the last image there didn't work, but it just says, call me, save to your phone, share my card, and there's that QR code. So if you pull that up when you're with somebody, then you can just pull it up and go, here, just scan this QR code, and you can go to my digital business card. Or they can just type it in, and they can share that with somebody else, whatever you can share it. So that's what's really important. So this is an example of a digital business card. This is just like a website. It's mkbizcard.net. So it is a URL that I have, that I purchased, and it's a digital business card that I have forever. And it's just so much easier than trying to, bring paper cards around anymore, because you just pull it up, and then they can do everything they need to do right there. And then it's an easy thing to remember, mkbizcard.net. Once they have it in their contacts, then they can just pull it up. They can, shoot me a message, whatever. Now, once they have my phone number in there, they can just shoot me a text message anyway. But this is really just to get those folks into the CRM system, so you can start sending them automated communication. That's to help you to sell your products and services through your business. And that's why it's important to get them in the CRM system. You don't want to enter people in there by yourself, because this is, again, it's with the spam world out there. You want them to physically enter their information. They chose to enter it, and that's what's important, and that's getting them into the system. So the CRM system that I'm using is Go HighLevel. Now, it's a business automation system. It's very robust, is the word I'm looking for here, because it's not just a CRM system that's integrated into it. It has the automation capability. It's a centralized platform where all of your information is. It has communication tools. Like I said, the tools that set up automation for email, phone, SMS, which is your text messages, anything like that. It has analytics and reporting, which is important. You can customize it. And there's training. There's lots of good training and support. And I just want to show you, I pulled this up. Okay, so before I do that, Lead Connect. So once you have the Go HighLevel system, which I can provide to you, once you have the Go HighLevel system, then you download an app called Lead Connect on your phone. And then when you have that on your phone, then all of your contacts and everything are right in there. And so any of your team, as long as they have that Lead Connect and they're connected to it, logged into it with your username and password on their phone, then any of the customers they're communicating with, they just pull them up just like a regular contact database. And you see right there, there's an example of mine. Those are the contacts in my system. So I can click on any one of those contacts, and then I can email them, I can text them, whatever, right through there. And it holds that information in the CRM system, which is really good, because then it's just so easy. Instead of just sending a regular text message, you actually do it through this, and then it's documented. It's in your CRM at that point. It's much better when you got a lot of guys out in the field and they're all sending communication via text message or phone calls or whatever. And it actually records the phone call for you. If you do it through the Lead Connect app, it'll record the phone call for you and put it in the CRM database. And that way, in the future, if they try to say, well, that's not what you said, or I said this, you go, actually, that's not true, because here's a recording of the conversation. Now, I would let them know they're being recorded. I wouldn't just, blindside them and not tell them that. I would let them know they're being recorded, because you don't want to get in trouble in the future and get a lawyer after you or something like that. But that's important. They could, if they choose not to be recorded, then you could just, stop the recording. But as long as they don't care, that's something you can do there. And you could just set up an automatic, they know that you're going to record if you're on the phone, unless they say not to. So that's what that is. But I wanted to show you, oh, my other slide wasn't here. So I wanted to show you before I get the Q&A. I'm going to hit stop, exit this. So here's an example now of the CRM dashboard. Now, this is just the general dashboard. This isn't my dashboard, but this is the general one. So I just want to show you what it looks like. When you go into Go HighLevel, you have a dashboard. Now, I'm an agency for Go HighLevel. That's why it says agency here. You would just have one dashboard, and then you have opportunities in there. You're going to have opportunities, your contacts, your automations, anything there, your partners, anything in here is going to be in your particular dashboard for Go HighLevel, which is really important because you can do everything from here. If you have a person back in the office that manages this for you, you can do all of that. They can see the communication that's going on with the customers and with leads that come into the system. As soon as a lead comes in, you can automate a process that kicks out a little link to schedule a call. And then you can automate that to go out every 2 weeks or every 10 days, whatever you decide to do. All of that happens within the CRM, this Go HighLevel system. I just want to show you that. And then it'll actually show you your conversions as well. If you connect this with your Stripe account or whatever payment processing gateway you're using, you can connect that here. And then I'm assuming that they can use more than Stripe, but that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. And then you can actually have some reporting in here based on your conversions on the leads that came into the system. Did they convert to a customer or did they not? That would be some of your analytics in here that you can look at and kind of see how you're doing, which I think is also really important. I want to show you the education too. They have, and the education side of this system, it's coming up here. Sometimes my internet connection is not so fabulous here at the house. And so I'm in South Dakota. So not that South Dakota doesn't have good internet, but I'm in a small town and the capabilities are a little bit less here. I want to show you, this is the university here. So once you get into the system, it basically tells you how you have all these great videos, as well as there's a document that goes with each video. So you can actually read it if you want to versus watching the video, but it has some great things. And they have such a great support. Like, look at this. That's an example of a document versus the video. It actually puts it in a Word doc for you. And then if you go to YouTube and just search for Go HighLevel, you have a million videos to watch out here. And they do a fantastic job of actually training you. The Go HighLevel folks, they train you out here and do lots of tutorials and videos and things like that to help you out. It's not a hard system to use. There's not a long learning curve behind this. There really is not. But that's something that's out there for you as well, because it's nice to know. And you can go out there and look at some of those. I watched a few videos prior to me getting involved with it that talk about, if they recommend it or don't recommend it. I'm in a mastermind of, 300 people. And a majority of the entrepreneurs in that mastermind are using Go HighLevel, and they talk very, very highly of it. And that's how I got involved in the first place, because I was taking, there you go, your word of mouth, right? There, I was taking the advice of the entrepreneurs that I'm in a mastermind with, who I, trust. And they said that this is the system to use. And so that's why I use it. And that's why I'm recommending it to other folks now, because it's just fabulous. It's just something that it makes it so much easier for you and your team, 100%. And it helps you to build that customer loyalty. So I just had to say that. So then I can help you with website services. I'm going to do Q&A here in 1 second, but I can help you with website services if that's something you want to do as far as upgrading your website to follow best practices. I can also build a digital business card for you. The price of a digital business card is $747. I know that seems like a lot, but it's a one-time fee. You don't pay a monthly subscription after that. You don't pay for any of that. It's a one-time fee to build it. And then I can connect it to the CRM system. So I can set up an account for you and Go HighLevel, and then I can connect your digital business card to the CRM system if you want to do it that way. If you don't want a digital business card, you just want to connect the CRM system to your website, I can do that for you as well. It's just a matter of, having your webmaster, or if you want me to help you out with, having website services, you just need to build a form in there that connects to the CRM system. And then you can do automations through the CRM system. So either of those things work. The $747 for the digital business card is going up probably in the next month. There's probably going to be a subscription service in the next month, because it's something that now we're realizing how great it is and how we can, utilize this in such an effective way for businesses, that there's probably going to be a subscription service associated with it in a month. So you can get in now at $747 while it's still at that price. After that, it's probably going to be $347, but you're going to pay $25 a month after that to have the service itself. So that's kind of what we do there. And the CRM system is $25 a month. That's it. $25 a month. It's a recurring model there for that service, because you're actually utilizing the system, and that's a simple thing. So if you have a website already, you just need to put a form on it, and your webmaster can do that. You can have a CRM system for $25 a month that I just explained to you, and have you set up in there. So those are the way you can do it. There's a couple of different ways to set it up, but I highly recommend that you utilize the fact that the digital world is not going away. There's nothing that you can do to change it. It is what it is, whether we are excited about it or not. If your competitors are going to use it and you're not, that's going to be something that is going to be detrimental for you, because they are moving with the times and you are not moving with the times. So I really think it's important for you to consider that when you're making a decision. I would not spend thousands and thousands of dollars out there, which some folks, like ClickFunnels and some other folks that are selling products out there to build, funnels and all this stuff. It's thousands of dollars, and you don't need to spend that kind of money. You can have a very simple solution. I could even help you with the download. I have lots of downloads for builders and service guys that help you kind of encourage folks to put their information into your form. Then they go into your CRM system, and you can manage them from there. I also have ways of building customer loyalty programs as far as writing content and things like that to help communicate with your customers, throughout the month, to help build loyal fans out of your customers who will refer you and who will give you good reviews. That's also very important. So any of those things I can help with. And just to kind of come full circle before we do Q&A is, with this industry really surrounding me with love and care back in the day when I was a single mom, my son's doing very, very well now. He's 26, going to be 27 here soon. And even though he still has Asperger's, he has a job and lives on his own and does phenomenal. And hopefully I'll get him to move here to South Dakota if I can, but he still lives in Colorado, where I'm from. But that is something that's going very, very well. And thankfully there was a light at the end of that tunnel. And thank goodness for this industry that helped me along the way so that I could make sure, help him to be the best he could be as an adult. So that's kind of where we are. Are there any questions? Any questions at this point? Things I can help with? Other things, other questions or other ideas, comments, anything like that? I'd be happy to take those. If you have them, just type them into the chat window or the Q&A window. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. If not, you can go to mkbizcard.net and you can actually schedule a call with me right there if you'd like to. I'd be happy to talk to you about it further, and even come up with, I'm going to brainstorming on, ways that you can be more efficient with this and things like that. I'm happy to just do a quick look at your website or whatever it is and see if there's ways that I can help you. Happy to do that. The first phone call is absolutely free. I don't charge anything for that. And you can just call and ask me anything you need to ask me. And I'd be happy to answer those questions and figure out a path moving forward for you. Any other questions there? Oh, there's something in the Q&A. Good. Is the higher level CRM only 25, or is it just your setting up? I looked online. It looks like it's the $297 a month, Lynn, is that's what I pay per month because I'm an agency. So I pay $297 per month as an agency, and then I have sub accounts underneath me. So if you were to set up with me, you'd have a sub account, and that's $25 a month. So just so you know, so you only pay 25. I pay $297 a month. I hope that answers your question. Are there other questions? Lauren, did you have anything to add? I know Lauren Stack's on here. She's not going to talk. She's probably going to come on video, but I didn't know if you had anything else, that questions or things you might want me to touch on.
No, I think you did a great job. Yeah.
I want to thank Watershape University as well. I like I said, I work with them and really believe in them, but the business side of this industry is something that we need to focus on as well. And Watershape University is doing that. There's some business courses and things that are besides just the construction and the design and all the things that go along with building pools. You know, they focus on the business side of this industry as well, which I think is really important because a lot of us, you know, are really good at our craft, but the business side is where we struggle. So if, you know, make sure you always keep in touch with Watershape in regards to the business side of things and how you can be more effective on the business side, because that's the one area, you know, none of us are, you know, well, Lauren's probably an MBA, but the rest of us aren't MBAs. And we probably didn't, you know, we didn't go to school for business. A lot of us didn't. And so we struggle with that. And so there's lots of things coming up that Watershape can help with as far as the business side and making sure you're being the best you can be with your business.